What's going on, guys? Jesse here. So today we're going to be installing a Garmin Tread GPS on my 2024 MX-Z XRS 850. So as you guys know, we love the Garmins because we use track maps for Ontario and Quebec on the Garmin. So we have turn-by-turn navigation for our saddleback trips as well as our day rides. Get into this install. First thing you're going to want to do is pop off your windshield. So I've gotten my windshield popped off. I'm going to take off our glove box lid. And as you can see in here, Mike has already fed the wire through. So this is a 16 gauge wire that's covered in a sheet here. And this is going through, basically there's a cap that you just pop off here, and then you have easy access in there. You don't need to take off your hood to get this wiring in. And then he has the wiring running down here, and then we can wire it up into our solenoid like we usually do. So here's the Garmin that we were able to get from RadioWorld. A huge thank you to RadioWorld for providing this for us. We're working with them again this season. If you're looking for GPSs or communicators, RadioWorld's an awesome place that carries all of that stuff. They're also going to be at the Toronto show, so if you get down there, you'll be able to get a bunch of products. So let's just go through this Garmin. So this is the Tread base edition. It's the 5.5 inch screen. So this is basically very similar to the Zumo XT that Mike got for his sled. The main difference is this is more of a off-roading style GPS, while Mike's was technically more for automotive, but at the end of the day, they both do the same thing. This just has more like topographic off-roading features. So you get your GPS, most satisfying thing ever. Oh yeah, beautiful glass screen. Coming from the Zumo 590 that I've had since basically 2018, that still works amazing. That was a plastic screen. So this is definitely a huge step up, and I know it's going to be crystal clear. Other thing that's super cool that I noticed on this is, unlike the Zumo XT, this one comes with these plastic covers. So the covers basically pop off, and in the box, it comes with 3 different colors, so you can customize it for what you want, which is awesome. I love red, so I'm going to put the red on because it will also match the sled. So you get that in the box. You get your actual mount, so this is where the Garmin will clip to. And this we're going to actually mount onto the glove box extension lid with hardware that they provide. Then we have the wiring that we're going to rig up. This is the part over here that goes into the into this bracket, and that's what actually powers the Garmin. So we'll go through that in more detail. This stuff would be more so for other applications. So these are RAM mounts and ways to mount the Garmin on different vehicles, but for the sled, we're not actually going to be using this. It's just a charging cord that comes for the Garmin. I'll give you some zip ties to help neaten up some of the wiring, and another RAM mount that we're also not going to use. And that's it. So before we actually get started with installing the GPS, I just wanted to highlight some important components that we need for the wiring of the GPS. So because we're wiring it directly to either a battery source or the solenoid, you need a fuse. So this we have here is just your ordinary fuse you can buy online, 3 amp fuse. And then also an automotive waterproof connection that we'll wire in. That way, if you need to take off your hood, you're able to easily disconnect this and the hood will come off. So now we're just going to unbox our glove box extension here. Here's our glove box extension. So basically what comes in the box is the extension itself, plus the weather stripping just to prevent any snow dust from getting in, and some screws. So we'll get to that in a minute. First thing we're going to do is actually take off the lid of the glove box extension, and we're going to mount the Garmin clip right in here. So before we actually drill the holes for the Garmin clip, as you can see here, it actually Skidoo gives you the markings already for it, which is awesome. We have to drill a big hole here to get the wiring harness through. This needs to come through. Once this is through, then we can actually drill the holes and install the Garmin clip. So I'm starting with a 1/2 inch drill bit, and we're going to drill a big hole right here. I recommend using a piece of wood, that way you don't go through your beautiful countertop in your garage. Now we're going to use a 1/8 bit just to drill out the holes that we're going to use to mount the clip. All the holes are drilled. As you can see, so biggest tip, take off this plastic cover. That way you can actually get this piece through the hole. And it's a tight fit, but it will go through. And then you got to feed the cover through. go. So to get the wiring through this, so basically what you do is you push it directly through all the way, and then you sneak it back and push it flat. Now that that's flat, Garmin gives you the world's tiniest screw that goes in right there. And I'll show you, it's so small, in my hands, I can hardly hold it. And Garmin gives you a second one because they know you're probably gonna lose it. So I have
a screwdriver for it.
Yeah, and a special screwdriver because no one has, unless you fix glasses for a living or an optician. And then just tighten that in. There you go. And that holds the harness in there. So Garmin gives you a bunch of hardware to actually install this. So you're gonna start by putting these in with the head of it facing inwards. And then usually I just like to get the screw in there just to keep everything in place. Start with one at a time. The holes we drilled are quite a tight fit. So I actually am going to tighten the screw to get it actually through the hole. Just get that started. Do the same with the others. Put your washers on. If I can do this with my fat fingers, anyone can do this. I'm just getting these started, and now I'll turn it back over and just tighten these down all the way. Okay, so now we're just using needle nose pliers. We'll go ahead and fasten each. Okay, and there the clip is installed now. It's just a weatherproof cover that you can put over to keep the electrical connections out of the elements when you take your GPS off the sled. And then we actually added just a grommet. We had some laying around in the garage just to clean up that hole a little bit. And that's it, on to the next part of the install. Before we actually mount the glove box extension, the first thing I'm going to do is connect my wiring. So as I mentioned before, we've already routed this through into the side of the machine where we're going to connect it to power. The wiring's fed through. What we learned with this install actually is the wiring that comes from Garmin is plenty long enough. So all we did is add our connection down here so we can disconnect this if we need to take off the hood. And then we have our positive end connected to our solenoid like we always do. And then the negative end is right over here on this chassis bolt. And we have our fuse here, and now really what we're gonna do is just neaten up the wiring over here. And then once we neaten up that wiring, then the last thing to do is just install the actual glove box. So to do that, it's actually really, really easy. You remove these two torque screws. The glove box extension pops in right over here. And then you put those two torque screws through here, fasten them down, and then you can put your glove box lid on, and that's it. So we've gotten all the wiring tucked up in here. There's a zip tie holding this box to the rest of the wiring up here, and now it's just pushed in there, so it's not going anywhere. And then the wiring is just tucked in here, and we have easy access to our plug and play connection. That way, if we need to take off the hood, you can just disconnect that and pull the whole thing off. So now all that's left to do, we're just gonna put our clutch cover back on. But looking over here, we've got our glove box extension installed with the Garmin, and it's ready to roll. So that's how you install Garmin Tread on the Rev Gen 5 chassis. If you have any questions about the install or need more information, feel free to reach out to us. You can either leave a comment below or shoot me an email at jesse@sledaddicz.com, and I'd be happy to answer any of your questions. Anyways, that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching.